Soon as we get into a place where the hand path is very upright at the top of the backswing. Upright essentially means we don't have a lot of hand depth. So the more your hands are behind you, directionally towards that yellow arrow, the deeper the hands would be. If you're somebody whose hands are staying in front of you, so more in front of you meaning more on top of your toes as opposed to on top of the heels of your feet, that is lacking in hand depth. When we have a hand path that's very upright and narrow and not deep enough, it's already going to be very hard to shallow the club because there's no space to keep the hands and club to the inside. It's really easy when the hand path is already upright and in front of you to get thrown way out in front of you coming down. But then you also compound this problem with a club alignment that, in my opinion, is way too laid off. So you take a club that's essentially already peaked how shallow it can get, and so on the way down from here, what we will typically see is the shaft starts to steepen on the player. And in fact, we see that pattern happen a lot with players. So you have this combination of elements here that essentially are doing you no favors as a slicer of the golf ball. They're making it much more easily likely that you are going to slice the ball. That was a very poorly worded sentence. I apologize. But essentially, this position at the top of your backswing makes it really easy to slice the ball, makes it very difficult to shallow the club and swing from the inside. It's as simple as that. And so you end up in exactly the type of positions we see. On the way down, well, your hand path is going to get way out in front of you. And really, it's not just because they're shooting out in front of you. They started from a position that was already too upright. And then because the club essentially peaked how shallow it can get at the top of the backswing being laid off, once this club starts down, it's going to start to steepen and get thrown out in front of your body. This is a very, very, very common combination of elements and movements that we see with players. The top of the backswing alignments are actually more important than the downswing when it comes to trying to shallow the club. And so really you end up cutting across the ball, and then it's a question of, well, if the face is going to stay really shut, you'll just pull, draw it, and hook it from there. If not, your body will react, and you'll obviously slice it. So how can we get this club coming down a lot shallower? How can we improve all of this? Well, the details would be loading more into the hips, turning your chest more, getting the hand path deeper. So at the top of the backswing, getting the hands a little bit more in line with the heels of your feet. This would facilitate that issue a lot. And getting the club alignment a little bit more down the line to maybe slightly across the line. There's usually a range of acceptability of where I would like to see the club for players. So somewhere within these two white lines. If the club starts pointing too far behind you, it's going to steepen. So getting the hands a little bit deeper, but then also getting the club a little bit more down the line. And that would not only make it so that the club's going to shallow easier, but if the hands are deeper, it creates space to keep the club shallow without the hands getting thrown out in front of you too much.